So this is a video for Photoshop and how to create this kind of cracked face look. So there's quite a few films that this would actually fit in for if you were to do this effect on the cover or play about with it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to save yourself the portrait of whoever is going to be on your film cover, and you need to save yourself some cracked effects from the internet, or these are available for you to just right click and save the image. Okay, so then we're going to go onto Photoshop and we're going to open up a page. I've gone for a portrait size so that I can actually use it as my cover for my poster or my DVD. So I'm going to copy my picture, and you can either go to File and then Open, or you can actually just copy and paste it. I've copied and pasted it, and as you can see, my picture is substantially larger than my screen. So you can either go to Edit, and you can go to Free Transform, or you can go to Control and T, and then that will allow you to rescale. As you're pulling in, make sure that you keep your finger down on Shift. If you don't do that, then your portrait will skew and distort, and we'll end up with a portrait that isn't in proportion. So I'm just going to rescale it and size it like this. Once I'm done and I'm happy with where it is on the page, I'm then going to start to bring in where my cracks are. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to press return, and then I need to open up my cracks. So I've saved these to my desktop a little earlier. So I just need to find them. Let's just copy it from here. And I'm going to use this particular one. So once it's copied over, I want to be able to see where I placed it. So I'm just going to change the opacity of this particular layer so that I can see where it is. And if I go to Control and T, or Edit and Free Transform, again, I could keep my finger on Shift, but I don't really mind if this distorts, because I'm trying to find a good placement of it. So I'm going to maybe put it on 1/2. I think I'll probably end up doing a few different cracks for this one so that they're not too large. So once I'm happy with the placement, I'm then going to go back to my opacity and put it to 100%. And then I'm going to go to my effect here, and I'm going to go down till I can select multiply. So once I've selected multiply, as you can see, it will then go into the face. So all I need to do now is kind of get rid of this dark background, and there's a couple of different ways that I could try to do this. I can select with the magic wand and I can actually press delete, but and then that will kind of get rid of all of your dark backgrounds. Or if you don't mind some of the dark, you can literally just get your opacity and maybe make it a little bit lighter, and then you can get your eraser tool. Mine's on a pre-selected brush, so I'm just going to get something a little bit softer, and I'm literally just going to, oh, it's quite low on opacity, I'm going to bring it up, and I'm literally just going to start to delete some of the darker edges around. So as you can see now, I've got this kind of portrait with the cracks on it. It might be that you find that you want to move it about, you want to rescale it a little bit, and then once I've done that, I might want to use my erase tool again to delete it so it's not on her hair. And then if I'm happy with that, I can leave it. There's not too much cracks on the face, so I think I would add another one. Let's try this one. So I'm going to copy that, paste it on, again play about with your opacity, move it about where you want it. I'm going to actually change the direction, pull it over, pull your opacity up again to 100%, and then back to multiply. So I'm just going to lighten the opacity again so that you can see where the edges are, and then I'm going to use my eraser tool just to get rid of some of the darker edges here. I might change the opacity of my brush a little bit more. So as you can see, I'm starting to kind of have cracks on the face then. There are brushes that kind of can add depth and highlights and darken, so it might be that once I've done this, I want my cracks to stand out a little bit more in certain areas. I'm actually just going to zoom in a little bit and just delete it off her eyes. And then just get rid of these kind of harsh lines. So then I can go to a burn tool, so I'm just going to click on that, and I can actually then darken parts. So the burn tool will, you can add shadows, midtones, highlights. So I'm just going to add shadows, and you can darken areas just by going over the top of them. Make sure that you're on the layer that you want to darken. So I'm just going to darken it here on her nose, maybe underneath her eyes a little bit here. So this will allow you to add some kind of highlights and some darker tones. You can also do that on your portrait. So if you find your portrait's a little bit too light, so I can add some kind of like darker, more freaky elements by adding my burn tool here. So it looks like she's a little bit kind of more withered. Like this. So just have a play about with ways to then get cracks all over her face. It might be then that you insert other stuff. I could even get the smudge tool. I could maybe, oh, that's a bit too much. Play about with the size. And I could bring bits down. I could add blood. So it's up to you. Have a little play around with it, but that is how you will create a cracked effect on a face on Photoshop.